business to new insane revenue levels doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's all about the right strategy, team, efficiencies, and confidence. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast. With over 1 million downloads, it's the go-to business podcast dedicated to business owners who want to evolve out of operating in the day-to-day and make their dreams come true. I'm your host, Annette Walter, and I'm so happy you are here. As a former banker, I have now been an entrepreneur for over 15 years and have started, grown, acquired, and sold over 20 multi-million-dollar companies to date. Together, you and I will strengthen your existing business, build your dream team and process, grow your wealth and legacy, all while surrounding you with a community of rockstar entrepreneurs just like yourself. Are you ready to evolve? Let's get started. Hi there, entrepreneur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast. I'm your host, Annette Walter, and I am a business growth coach, operational strategist, and entrepreneur just like you, growing 2 companies on the national level. This isn't my first rodeo either. This is one of many companies that I've had throughout my career, and that's why I love doing this work. I love building a community of rockstar entrepreneurs that are here to share stories, real talk, real business, and really help you on your journey as you are building and growing your team and company. And today's guest is Nataliya Anon, and she is the founder and CEO of Svitla Services, and most recently recognized on the WPO, the Women Presidents Organization, Fastest 50 Growing Companies. And this is her second year in a row. And I love the insight and her story of her global domination, but also I love how she talks about hiring people smarter than you most of the time when you really aren't ready or when your business is telling you, but really going to that point of hiring those around you that are smarter than you and are better experts in their field around you. And that really creates room for significant growth in your company. So I know you're going to really enjoy Nataliya today and our conversation. She is so kind, and she most recently started or co-founded a second company. So definitely pay attention to that at the end, because it's a very cool concept that relates to recruiting. And I know you're going to want to hear more about that. Entrepreneurs, listen, you are doing it, and I'm so happy you are doing it. If you haven't joined our community yet of like-minded entrepreneurs like yourself, I encourage you to do so. We have multiple mastermind groups so that you can feel surrounded and less alone in your business. And I want you to be a part of them. I want to talk to you and learn more about your business and see how we can help you keep evolving, entrepreneur. I will see you soon. Enjoy today's episode with Nataliya. Welcome, Nataliya. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Annette. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Absolutely. I'm so excited you're here. Today we are joined by Nataliya Anon, and she is the founder and CEO of Svitla Systems. Rolls off the tongue, I'm sure easier on your part, right? I want to hear about the name. First of all, tell me about the name of the company, and then we're going to dive deeper into you.
Sure. Well, Svitla is a Ukrainian name. I'm Ukrainian, ethnically. I came to this country about 30 years ago, but always kept my roots. So Svitla in Ukrainians means bright, light, enlightened, right? Like enlightened thought, bright idea, smart person. That's the origin of it.
I love that. I love that. And you, my friend, are beyond bright. Congratulations on your most recent recognition with the WPO. Fastest 50 growing companies. Congratulations. How did that moment feel for you?
Oh, it's great. And it's the second year in the row. So when it happens second year in the row, it's already a validation. So I'm really proud of that recognition.
Are you comfortable sharing the numbers here just so people can understand what type of massive growth you just went through?
It's 35% growth, basically, that we have experienced year to year for the past 8 years.
That's amazing.
And I started this company, so it was a great transformational process for me as well, because I'm the founder of the company. I bootstrapped this company. In the beginning, I was doing everything, right? And, as the company grew, so did I grow as a professional, as the CEO, as the founder, as the leader of the company, because there were so many junctions as the company grew, where we had to sort of say, the matrix is overloaded. We have to change the processes. You have to bring in people who know more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change the structure. At this point, you have to create the sales team. Now we have to expand globally. So it has been an incredible journey, and and I'm still on it. I'm still continuing on it.
That's
Still a learning
amazing.
process for me.
So let's rewind a little bit here, Nataliya. Okay. So take us from pre-company and what your world looked like, and where the spark to find this company really came from, and what it looked like in the beginning, and what the real core product is and service is at the company.
Well, Svitla is a global trusted IT solutions provider, right? So we provide technical consulting services, technical solutions, software solutions, and technical teams to our clients. If I take it pre-company, I actually have an interesting story. I got an idea. I was a second-year student at Stanford Business School, and my colleagues and professors were asking me, well, what are you going to do once you graduate? And I really didn't know the answer. I said, I'm going to start a company. And they were asking, well, what kind of company? And I didn't know the answer. And I thought, I'm a second year student here at Stanford Business School. I probably should not be answering like that.
Right.
And then already in the second year, when I was at Stanford, and I had exposure to Silicon Valley. And at that point, the Indian outsourcing companies, which are now such huge industry giants as Wipro, Infosys, they were already well established on the scene. And I also saw that there was a real need for technical talent, right? There was a shortage of it. Mm-hmm. And, it was very interesting. It wasn't that difficult to connect the dots. I always kept in touch with Ukraine, and I knew that there was a large pool of strong technical resources. And, that's how the idea basically came about. I wrote the business plan while I was at a second-year student at Stanford. Actually won the competition, like the second place. The team participated. I got an A+ on my class where I was writing the business plan. And then I started my first company, which was the predecessor to Svitla, called Lohika, in 2001, while I was still a student. That company was actually funded by a group of very well-heeled angel investors. 2 years into that journey, into that company, it didn't quite work out. For me, I left the company. And in 2003, I started Svitla Systems. And already, I didn't take any investor money. I actually bootstrapped it all the way through. It's been 18 years. We just celebrated our 18th anniversary. And, now the company employs more than 800 people. We're a global company, US company, headquartered in the US, but we have very strong presence in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Poland at this point, and thinking of expanding. We have offices in Latin America, Mexico, Costa Rica as of beginning of this year. And again, considering expanding in Latin American region. And we now have a small capital operation in India as well as of beginning of this year.
Wow, look at you. How does it feel saying all that?
Well, it's as I said, it was a transformative process for me. In the beginning, when I started the company, it was me and probably 3 other guys, right? It was the 3 of us. And I was doing everything, right? A secretary, CFO, salesperson. For the very longest time, I was the key principal salesperson in the company. Mm-hmm. I was generating the bulk of the sales. Then it came to the point, probably about 8 years ago, when I realized, actually more than that, I realized, I cannot continue scale up this company when all the sales done by me. And that was, there was an important milestone for the company, when we went ahead and established a formal, hired a VP of sales, we hired more salespeople. And now, I'm still, obviously, as a CEO, you always involved in sales, right? You always sell your company, but now it's not obviously the main activity that I'm doing. I'm more of a tool of our salespeople who bring me in the process and help them close deals.
That's amazing. So have you revisited the business plan from
many times, of course, many times, right? As I mentioned already, at each junction, the company was 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, then 500 people. We there was a need, feeling like, okay, we grew to that point. What do we do next, right? The matrix is literally overloaded. We need to change the processes. We need to hire additional roles, right? We need to expand additional geography. So it's always an evolving business plan. As any good business people, we try to set our goals for the next 3 years and then plan accordingly. Right now is an important time for us because it's the end, almost the end of the calendar year. So we do all our planning for the next year. But the goal is clear. I want to continue to grow this company and set the growth rate of 35% per year. It's very much achievable for us at this stage, and we want to keep on that growth trajectory.
That's wonderful. And I love how you're telling this story, Nataliya, because you're really talking about those big incremental growth stages that you go through and that you have to almost unscramble and repurpose everything, or you outgrow and grow into new things. And sometimes it can be a fully aware things that happens right in front of you, but then sometimes you may not realize that you really need to refix things or change things up until you're almost like, your team is just utterly exhausted, right? That's what growth feels like, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's almost being like, I like the comparison of being the, captain of the ship, right? Your ship being your company, and you constantly, and you in the ocean, wide ocean. So at any particular time, you need to figure it out. Do you have the right sails up, right? Are you sailing in the right direction? Maybe there are a lot of other ships surrounding you, and you need to maneuver, ships being the competition, right? Do you have the right captain at the helm? Or does the captain need additional help in fortifying your sales team, right? In fortifying your management team to make sure that you reach that blessed island that's ahead of you. So
absolutely. That's a really good analogy. So do you feel like the world is getting bigger, or do you feel like it's getting smaller? You just mentioned so many locations. How does it feel to you, especially with technology in the space that you're in?
So the world is definitely getting more global. Absolutely. And especially COVID, right? With the recent couple of years, we see how the world is becoming even more global. So it's both bigger, right? Because it's global, but at the same time, it's smaller because everything becomes more accessible. And for us, that has really had real implications because we're already a global company. But since COVID, we even went further in our globalization, right? We opened additional offices. As the beginning of this year, for example, we went in Costa Rica, right? And we found that, we can hire some truly amazing technical talent in Costa Rica. This year, same with India, right? Because we were, as everybody else, and you probably hear that from other business owners, there's a shortage of labor, of qualified labor. And so the world is becoming your platter. You really go to locations, where can you find that talent? Right. And that's the reason for our expansion. And for this year, again, we're thinking potentially expanding further in Latin America. For example, we are in Argentina. We're looking at other locations in Eastern Europe, Asia, potentially. So, yes, it's the world is becoming bigger, but at the same time larger, but at the same time more accessible.
Absolutely. What keeps you going as the CEO? What are your healthy habits, healthy outlets?
Well, if you're talking about life balance, is obviously very important. I have 3 kids, so of school age. That keeps my sanity. Right. It's important to draw that balance, and I try to do that. I love to travel with my family. I spend a lot of time with my kids. I exercise at least twice a week. It's worked into my routine that I have to do that. That's also very important. And just kind of trying to keep the perspective. Time management is obviously very important, but that's something that you just learn, with owning and growing a business and having 3 kids. You get good at it, and just keeping things at perspective.
Right. And were you ever scared to make a hire, or felt like you weren't fully ready to make a hire? Because I get that question a lot from our audience of entrepreneurs, is like, I know I need more people, assuming that they can find the right person, but just the timing of it. So how did you know that, or how would you speak to advice on that?
I think it's, you have to trust your gut instincts, right? It's very important for me as a business owner. When you hire people who know more than you, that are expensive, that you try to build in the business.
Right.
So always follow your gut, right? Because we often, the first reaction tells us something, we try to rationalize with our minds, that to the contrary. Stay close to that, in other words, right? But it's the business. I have learned to hire people who know more than I do, and I have learned that there's incredible benefit to that, right? Because sometimes there are just things that you do not know, right? Because you haven't experienced that. The best learning I have had is from experience. Like, you can read many books, you can study each, but the best learning is by experience. So I would say, and they taught me that in the business school, always try to hire the A players, right? The best talent that you can find on the market. If you can recruit them, bring into your company. And and if there are any fear or concerns, they disperse quickly. As you get to work with that person. As entrepreneurs, we always take risks, right? It's one of the important aspects of being an entrepreneur. So I would say, listen to your gut. Know when the moment is right, because the business will be telling you that there is a right timing to bring somebody senior, who knows more than you do, than the founder does, into the company, and just, go with it. If it's wrong, you can fix it. You can always fix it. But if you don't give it a chance, you will know where it will take you.
Nataliya, that's so good. I love all of that. Everything you just said, so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we wrap up here, because I don't want to take up too much of your precious time.
Of course, no, thank you. It's a great opportunity for me to be here with you.
It's amazing. I feel like we could talk forever. So tell us your kind of personal mantra, a personal go-to phrase when you're having those days, those moments of whatever they might be, fear, doubt, anxiety, that you kind of go to switch yourself to a positive frame of mind and get through it.
Yeah. My personal mantra is like, do good and the world will do good by you. So, and there, that's just that's just how things are. That's how the world functions. And that's my worldview, right? But, are there moments where I want to tear up my, hair and say, oh my God. And when that moment happens, the way how I deal with it, I close the door, or I try to leave the office. I need a time off, so that kind of internalize, take it off, 2-3 hour passes, and it always passes, right? And I'm back on track. That's my, that's my way of dealing with those moments, and we all get them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Step away. Sometimes you just have to step away, for sure.
Yep.
So where can we find you? Where can we support you? Where can we support the company?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, of course, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, Svitla Systems, there's the website. One thing I do want to mention is that this past year, I co-founded another company, and it's a new company. It's called Hyatera. I'm just a co-founder. I don't have an active role, but I do want to mention it because I think it has a significance, because especially last year, there was a lot of talk about equality and diversity in the workplace. And we hire lots of people in our company in Svitla, and I have that experience. So how do you eliminate the recruitment bias, right, based on gender or ethnicity or race? How do you weed it out from the recruitment process? So what Hyatera does, it allows candidates who looking for a job, specifically now it's just in the IT field, to input their profiles anonymously without disclosing their name, right, or the last employer. And that anonymity basically shields them when recruiters look through those profiles from the bias that could be just written right in their name, right? And it's completely merit and skill-based hiring what we are offering. It really shifts the power to the candidate rather than recruiter, because the recruiters can go and look through profiles, and if they find somebody interesting, they reach to that person offering them a particular position, and only if the candidate is interested in that position, they open up their profiles. So we feel it might be a game changer in the whole recruitment industry here in the US. And what would be helpful to me, because again, it's a young company, if people could go and check it out. It's called Hyatera, hire like Terra with double R, the Latin word, and spread the word.
Wonderful. And is that TARRA or TERRA?
TERRA.
Okay.
HIRETERRA.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So kind of like from the grassroots, right?
Yeah, hire, like hiring, and terra, like earth in Latin.
I love it. I feel like that's going to be a home run right there. That is a really great concept.
Thank you, Anna.
Wonderful. Well, you are so kind. I loved every word of everything that you shared with us today. Thank you so much for being here, Nataliya. Keep evolving. The best is yet to come for you.
Thank you, Annette. I appreciate being here.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what an episode. Did you learn something new? I hope so. I am so happy you were able to be here with us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a review and I will be sure to read it and respond to you. Also, if you'd like to email me, my email address is yourock@ievolveconsulting.com. Hit subscribe, and every Tuesday you'll get notification when the next episode drops. We really have some amazing interviews and tips in the future. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I want you to keep your momentum. I want to help you stay accountable. I want you to stay inspired. I want you to evolve. So please let me know what you need, and I'd love to hear from you. Take care until next time.